This is the Greater Oregon Vocational School District Committee meeting for November 7th, 2022. A roll call.
Mr. DiBiaseu?
Here.
Mr. Jennings?
Here.
Ms. Menard?
Here.
Father Jay?
Here.
Dr. Nara?
Yes.
Mr. Beegan?
Here. Okay, we have a call. In accordance to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, any member of the public may make an audio or video recording of this meeting. A member of the public who wishes to record the meeting must first notify the chair and must comply with the reasonable requirements regarding audio or video equipment established by the chair as not to interfere with the meeting. Anyone today?
I have not been notified. No.
Okay. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the October 13, 2022 minutes. Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And we have the student report.
The student government elected report a strong conclusion to our fall season. Over 700 students enjoyed homecoming this past Friday, while summer sports teams completed the MIAA state tournament. Boys soccer traveled to East Boston and defeated XL Charter for the first tournament win in a few years. They were defeated by a higher seed Medway on Sunday. Girls soccer traveled to Foxborough and lost to a powerful team to conclude their season. They also enjoyed an alumni game attended by many past players. Volleyball lost to a top seed Dennis Jarman on Friday, but put up a good fight versus a very strong team. Football also picked up a win against Dennis Jarman on Saturday with some beautiful weather. They played Bourne this Thursday. Student government is having their election day Tuesday, where students will vote for class presidents and vice presidents. We also had the idea of putting together a weekly news program to keep the students up to date on what's happening. We have begun filming and will edit and ask students to show the projection during the morning session. We also have Paddock coming out.
Great. Thank you. Any questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I would like our student representative to introduce himself to the committee members and let us know your name, what year you're in here, and your shop, if you would, please.
My name is Ryan Nadeau. I'm in electricity and I am a junior.
Brian, nice job.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone, Elena, signed up for
We do not.
Okay, we're gonna take one order of business out of order. Greg, we're gonna go into executive session, seeing that we're gonna be losing members.
That's fine, we can do that. Can you just give me a moment relative to language? Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I had known you told me that, and it should have been ready. All right, going to go into executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Section 2, to discuss strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, individual contract assistant superintendent principal.
Okay, need a motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You know, which gets a value back from our investment. While it's not much, you'll see more of that from me and suggestions with any of the equipment that we're gonna surplus. So it's not a lot of money, it's not a guarantee. I think the highest quote I got back was like $1,200, and they go through them. We wipe them before they go, they also wipe them again. So there's no information on them whatsoever. But I would like a recommendation to surplus them.
So for the committee's information, there is again, there's information included in your packet. You do see that the possible total coming back to Diman would be $1,784 in its entirety. Would be coming back, and there is a recommendation from our IT director, as you see before you.
And these are quote extras. You don't have to replace them.
I wouldn't call them extras. They serve their purpose. They're
Obsolete.
almost, yes, obsolete.
But are they? They're not in students' hands right now. Every student has
They
a
are not.
Chromebook.
Every student does have a Chromebook. Our program every year, we buy ninth graders Chromebooks and we lease them. So we can
Right.
spread it out.
We've gone to a leasing program.
Yeah.
That's why I asked.
Yep. So they've served their purpose, so put it that way.
I just wanna make sure, I didn't know if we could get more.
Yeah, no, I think we're in a good spot right now.
Okay, great. And anything else? Any questions, comments? No, because I had asked because there was so many of them that they could inform us on the condition and.
There are some that are really rough. They're in rough shape. Prior to my arrival, there was a lot of cannibalization going on, for lack of a better term, of swapping screens and that sort of stuff. Which becomes a hazmat. So these companies will take parts and dispose of them. There's no value to them at that point. But the Chromebooks they're still useful, don't get me wrong, but not in an educational environment. They can only be updated to 93, and we're at, for a version, we're at 102 right now. So TestNav won't even run on these machines, which is what we use to do MCAS testing. And they just can't be updated any further. So they've really served their purpose, and that's why we're using them as kiosk machines, because it doesn't matter the version. So we have, I think, right now 20 kiosk machines for our e-haul pass program.
Great, all right, thank you.
No, thank you.
Recommendation to approve the request from the,
Should be.
need a second. All in favor? Aye, opposed?
Thank you.
D, use of facilities.
We have a request in for the AAA driving school, and this is, they are resurrecting something that happened for the last time it didn't happen, it was in 2020. They started originally in 2011. What they do is that they offer classes for Diman students here at Diman. There are 2 sessions, as you see, spring and fall. That's included in your packet there. They are looking for Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2:30 to 4:30, and there is the fee that's associated with that.
The recommendation is to approve the request. Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Thank you. That will benefit our students right, as it's done right here, and it's a full package for them.
Thank you. E, we have the athletic fields.
We have our director of athletics here tonight present, because this was something that was very interesting for the athletes, but also the committee is interested in on the use of the field, how it's going to play out while we're under construction for the next number of years. I'll just say it that way. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Bobby Bailey, our director of athletics. Information is in your packet on this, on also committee members.
Yeah.
So this is more informational. Over the last few weeks, I've been to the park in Fall River, Bishop Conley, Orlando Cover, and YMCA and Swansea. Just kind of meeting and trying to get in front of this before we actually start the planning phase. In front of you, you have a budget. It's just an estimated budget of how it looks like the spring and the fall sports. And so if you look at the top, this is spring obviously because we have that coming first. You have one on the city side and you have one on the Swansea YMCA field side. I met with Bishop Conley about potentially using the facilities for football, which I met with the coaches, and they would actually like to just do away games just because there's no lighting. Atlanta's charter is not going to be able to provide us fields either, just because of the amount of games they have going on. So the 2 options we narrowed it down to are the YMCA and Swansea in the fields in Fall River. So you'll see, like I said, an estimated cost. So there is going to be a significant increase in the amount of money that we'll be requesting for the athletic budget, just because the transportation is going to be a huge upside in that. And then also, if we were to go the route of the Swansea YMCA, it would be facility rental. And that does exclude the winter season. I did not include that in there just because we wouldn't be moving off campus for any type of winter sports. We would be here. So, and at a later date, I could get that for you. And then also on the city side, we would have to go in front of the park board on January 1st if they don't make decisions until after January for the beginning of the year.
My question to you is this.
Yes.
Looking at the 2, if we have the Swansea site, which is one site, you have Parks and Recs, which is multiple sites. Is it going to cause a major, obviously there's a price difference. It's nominal when you really think about it. It's not a huge price difference. Is it going to cause a big issue with support to these sporting events? Whereas our trainers, so on and so forth, we have to have a trainer at certain events. We have Steph and she's fantastic. What's your opinion as we look at this as a whole for us to examine and say, where do you feel we should fall with this? Should we be all over the city every day? We're not really sure which fields we're gonna be on, what sports on what field, what was the schedule, let's pull it out. Or are we gonna go and say, we know they're all at this place?
My concern is the conditions of the fields that are in the city. The other thing is we have no control in the city of who's going to attend these games, practices, etc. And we don't, and for our trainer, one complex would be easier if our trainer went there, was able to at least go and even in practices, go there, make sure the kids are okay. If somebody needs to be looked at, she's right there with all of them rather than in a car running from field to field. I feel safer for our students. That I really wish the Conley had worked, but it's not going to work. So the next closest thing to us at this time is the YMCA in Swansea.
What's the distance between our spot and the Swansea
About
location?
14 minutes.
What?
14 minutes. Yeah, door to door.
Mr. Beegan has his question, right? And then you.
Yeah.
interrupt.
No, I mean, I just felt, how do you feel as far as cost goes, we could take the cheapest way out, any way you look at it, but I'm not willing, we spend money all the time on things that probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is transportation. So it would make the most sense to have everyone in one location, right? But it's the transportation issue is, can we get everyone there? And then on the other end, it would make sense because everyone would be in location, it would make things easier if a session was provided. But if transportation, if we can't get the kids in, then we don't have anything. So that's.
Well, it's something we can work on after the fact, when we decide where they're gonna be, then we tackle the transportation issue. Figure out what's gonna be the best route to do this. And then we decide, some of the older kids, they're gonna drive to freaking practice.
Mr. Chairman, I had spoken to Mr. Kitchen, and I said, let's say we do select this, whether it's the city or whether it's YMCA. We had talked about possibly buying a bus and hiring our own bus driver. We're probably still gonna have to have the other agencies assist us, because obviously sometimes you're gonna need more than one bus. But at least we can, even if the bus driver had to make a few trips to bring the students to there, at least we have a bus that we're gonna count on every day. And as well as I, the buses, sometimes, for regularly scheduling now, they call you and say, I don't have a bus driver for that route. So this might help us solve that problem. And it's gonna save us in the end, because it's obvious having our own bus and having our own bus driver is going to be cheaper than, and in the end, we could sell the bus and make some of our money back.
Okay, to your point, Jeff, let's say there are some seniors who are driving to football practice every day, and God forbid there's 2 kids in the car and there's an accident. What's the conversation regarding that?
Right now, we have release forms
Okay,
that they have, and the kids, the students are told, you cannot, without permission on that release form, from not only the school, but from the parents of that child.
Yeah.
For instance, my sons play golf at Swansea Country Club, 10 minutes from my house, 5 minutes from my house. They were not gonna ride a bus to Swansea Country Club to ride a bus back to Fall River to drive home. I signed a release for them to go drive themselves to the golf course and then go home right from there.
And they
You have that in process.
And they can't take any of the other students, they'll say they're after a golf meet, someone of their friends say, hey, can you take me home to Somerset? They're not allowed under the release form,
Okay.
unless it's signed by their parent and the parent of the person that's gonna drive them. So there are release forms that we can, Mr. Bello can work on with Mr. Bethany and Bobby.
As far as the transportation goes, you think it's gonna be, how difficult getting these kids there on the buses? Do we have?
With the number of players that are playing, so we have only 30 30 players for JV and varsity baseball, so you need one bus, because one holds 49. So,
You're predicting that they're all gonna take the bus, which we know.
No.
But you have-
Well, you have to put
Worst
that,
case, yeah.
worst case
Yeah,
scenario. you have
worst
to.
case.
I think you have to, like you said, you have to look at the number you have. That doesn't include freshman baseball, if we continue to have freshman baseball, because there's 12 there. So even if you throw the Delta in there for 12, you can still float them, because all those kids are gonna take the bus.
Right.
And then there's 12 JV players in the past, and it's 15 girls for softball. But then you'd probably have to keep spring track down to 90, because it's 49, 45.
Well,
But then, so you need 4 buses for every day for practice. For spring
so
sports.
regardless whether we go to Swansea or we go to the parks in Fall River, they're still gonna need transportation.
But
There's
all
no parks within walking distance of Diamond.
Lafayette and Levels.
They're gonna need transportation.
Oh, I know, they will.
Yeah, so we're gonna need transportation regardless.
But we also, can do this as well. Let's say we do select, let's say, the YMCA. We could have baseball, varsity start at 2:30. And that bus drops them off, comes back, picks up JV baseball, and they start at 3:15. So that way, no one, you're utilizing the same field and they can get off while the other kids take their infield, outfield. And we can have the bus circulating.
If you stagger
You
Right.
just have to have the kids wait here for an hour and a half.
Well, not an hour and a half, but they'd
it.
be.
You're gonna wait with them.
I'm not gonna wait for them.
It's, school gets out of what time?
228.
2:28.
2:30.
So if they,
So they'll get
if the
there.
It's
first
saying
group,
14 minutes, so it's a totality of
yeah,
30 minutes.
Then
But
With traffic.
right, traffic, especially that time of day, we don't know what the.
And loading and emptying the students and
But al-
players
also
and equipment.
for track, for spring, and fall, we also discussed about potentially having them here on campus. I know we're gonna have a ton of construction going on down there, but figuring out a solution as well.
spring track.
For spring track and then also fall. So fall is a little bit
Cross
different. Winter, cross country,
Well, cross-country runs on the streets anyways, they don't run around
I
like
was gonna say,
complex.
for the events, for field events, you wouldn't have any place to
No,
do it,
yeah,
so
that's-
just cross-country would be the only.
Yeah. So it's figuring out a solution for that as well. Like Conley's gonna accommodate because their track, it's not done, so.
I think the biggest obstacle in the fall is where they're gonna practice.
Which Conley has their practice field. You know, whether they allow us to use that
Or
for
Practice.
practice.
football can practice.
In practice for what?
They have
Right,
space at the
right,
Y.
they have plenty of space.
Football practice field and a soccer practice field.
Right.
at the same
Okay, so the practice field.
It's big enough to hold both.
Change of games.
No, you wouldn't want kids.
Kind of like-
But it's maybe soccer, but not for football. Couldn't do
So,
football.
yeah, that's,
Makes
you said we cannot have games in Swansea.
But
Just not football.
Football,
football.
no football.
baseball,
Can't play
softball,
games.
soccer, yes, number one, it attracts too many, people. But now, if I'm under the understanding too with Conley, they'd be willing to allow us to do home games on their field, but it would have to be Saturdays.
Saturdays, yeah.
So we could have our home games instead of our students having to travel for every game, we could call that out.
And you budgeted that in the event we have 4 games home.
At Conley, no, because the thing is, and I've talked to the coaches, they would much rather just play their away games,
Away games.
instead of, so they can have Friday night games and.
Instead of dealing with it, yeah.
Okay.
So that alleviates some of that, but it's, like I said, it's gonna be an increase in that.
So it's all about the practice, and we can have, in Swansea can accommodate the softball and baseball games and soccer.
They have a one baseball, real nice field, they have two softball, they have the major field that they use. And then they do have a second softball field back in the left corner, so.
And my understanding is that the Y is looking to do some big renovations to the field and kind of get it all in shape for us.
Yes. Have you been there?
I have not.
Oh.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So they're beautiful. They need to do a little bit of work to the mounds on the baseball fields, and then the infield just so it doesn't collect so much water.
Is there lighting at your facility?
There is not, but
Not yet.
it's coming.
Coming 2025, 2030, next.
Working on it.
No,
Like, we
we're
can't commit to
working on
it.
it, yeah.
I believe, if I remember right, the wiring is there. It's it's the structures that have to be put up. So I think when that was built, it was built to have lights put in.
Yeah.
But they never finished it.
So we're working with Rexel, who has the lights, they're actually working on getting poles, for the lighting, and they won't commit to the bases that were put in, because they're so old, so they don't accommodate the new lighting fixtures, so. But there's a lot of talk around it, a lot of talk, so.
But regardless of this, we're prepared to, you know, to do what we need to do to equip the field so that they're, you know, so that every time, you know, everything's consistent, you don't have to worry about anything.
We're replacing the scoreboards as well.
I'm gonna tell you I've been coaching softball for 15 years, and that is by far one of the better fields that the conference will play on, and the baseball field as well. They are both top-notch fields, beautiful fields.
It's a great case.
You'll need a temporary fence because that's 300 feet is not
So
softball.
the, we did not talk about renovating the softball fields in the back corner. It's not playable, and I think if we do the football and soccer field over there, it would take that whole outfield, so it would just be the baseball field and the existing softball field.
Okay.
It's doable.
Now, what is your recommendation? It says here recommendation, but what are you recommending?
Mr. Chairman, the athletic trainer would like to speak.
I just,
Oh,
sorry, no, I just want to make sure that, between Fall River and Swansea for our athletes, Swansea has the ability for us to go inside in severe weather, which we don't have that ability necessarily in the parks, or I don't know what that looks like. I did take a ride over, so I do know where it is and what's going on. Whether it's lightning, hurricanes, or tornadoes, I know that sounds really strange, tornadoes, but we have had one in our area. And it was put into Diman's kind of process that we needed to know that it wasn't just in the gymnasium, that's not good enough, it has to be in an interior wall. So there's a couple of those little things as far as the safety of our kids from weather that I wanted to let you guys think about. As far as AEDs, if we go onto the parks in the city, every team that goes on every park must have an AED with them. So I'll have one with me, but each team will also have one. And they're, depending on which one you go to, there can be about $1,500 a piece. As far as, again, the MIA requires that an AED be available to an athlete within 2 to 3 minutes.
And the training that goes along with it.
Yeah, well, and our coaches and everybody is trained to do them, but it would just be one more thing that they would have to be taking. They would have to be taking ice and water and all of those kind of things. For me at least, being at Swansea would be a little bit easier because if something happened on a football field or a soccer field, I can get to either one, hoping to move a golf cart over there that I could scoot back and forth and move an athlete around versus if it happens on campus as far as in the city of Fall River. Nobody's going in my car, and I was looking to possibly see whether or not they've done and had a car that I could pack up as my traveling athletic training room for supplies, be it, tape and crutches and braces and all that other kind of stuff that has to go on a regular basis.
It's a big undertaking.
And they do have facilities, they have bathrooms here, males and females.
Yes.
So, which I think you were rehabbing anyways.
We are, and we're also redoing our snack shack, which there'll be an ice machine for this.
Yeah, we're building a splash pad, like an outdoor sprinkler
Yeah, I
system,
think that was-
starting in December, so part of that project is redoing the concession stands and bathrooms.
So the YMCA gets the proceeds from the concession stand. You guys was here, right? If it was here,
It's not gonna be here.
Yeah.
No, if it were,
Yeah.
right?
It was here, but
For
PTO runs it.
baseball and softball, we never get concessions anyways. It's gonna be the first time baseball and softball actually has.
But for the football,
We're not doing
Team not doing games there.
We're not doing games.
okay, so Steph, nothing comes easy.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
For me, I mean, it would make more sense to have them in the right spot, but I think getting a bus driver is gonna be extremely tough. I mean, literally scheduling games, and we're gonna need a bus regardless, right? But I think that's gonna be the biggest hurdle of how that looks.
do you want to work on that before we vote on this, or do you,
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think,
We gotta choose a spot.
We gotta choose a spot anyways, because whether we go there or we go to Lafayette, just the
we gotta
time
make sure
distance
we
is
can
all.
get the transportation?
Yeah, but
Is this something you need tonight?
Not necessarily, but I do know the YMCA is trying to figure out what they're gonna do with the fields
Yeah, they have to
because
know.
before the winter, it's gonna keep that.
it doesn't matter.
I think we should vote on
We
it.
should vote on it tonight.
Well, I'm just taking
Yeah, I know you are, but
his recommendation.
What is your recommendation, that we make a decision tonight?
So, there was.
Say yes.
Tell us
So I
what you'd like
make,
us to
so I make a motion that, we continue going forward and use it with the use of the fields at the YMCA with the contracted price of what is on it.
I want, Mr. Kitchen,
The location, I don't know.
What?
Mr. Kitchen just asked if he thought this is gonna be part of the 30B bidding procedure. I don't know, I don't think of it, I'd have to do a little research, but, I mean, what do you think? I don't know. It's not good to services in my opinion, but
It's good for services, it's
What service do they provide?
nothing.
Nothing.
It's a space.
Why are you renting it then? Why are you paying them?
Oh,
Field,
yeah,
it's land,
for the use of their complex.
Facility.
use of facilities.
Is that defined as a service?
well, we go out for use of facilities, normally we do. Well, not a service, but we still bid when we
Do we-
release the building for the nursing program.
Yeah, and we also, when we even made the deal with BCC on tennis and use of our gym, we voted
I'm not
for
gonna,
that.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't, Mr.
I
Kitchen
just
just brought it to my attention, I don't.
So we have to set it up to bid, is it?
I think we have to post for it at least, because it's over $10,000.
I was
How
just
long
gonna
does
say,
it
so-
how long does that have to be posted
2
for?
weeks.
2 weeks?
Okay,
And Mr. Kitchen, I think with the transportation, I don't want to interject here because it's, I know very little about it again, but Mr. Kitchen told me today, and he can speak for himself, it's not even really getting the transportation. The bus companies are telling Mr. Kitchen that the problem is they can't get a driver because they go through a certain protocol that they're going through and they can't get people to pass the protocol, so they can't get drivers. Can't even, 7 people applied, kids, 6 failed?
For the special ed being looking for.
I mean, that's the issue that he's running up against. It's not so much, because you're right, there's gotta be transportation everywhere, in either place, but,
Yeah, but some we're gonna have to figure out.
yeah, we're gonna have,
I mean,
but we can, but
I think we'll continue to.
One question I have for you, Andrew and Brian, is we do have vans. They do seat 12, or you start shaking your head. They do transport how many?
8.
There's more than 8 in those vans.
10 or 12 thousand.
70.
70
plus
is
the driver.
seven students plus the driver, 70. They fall in that classification.
70 plus is for vocational settings only to go to
We have,
a co-op.
we have large vans, but Mr. Kitchen just said it.
We've used those for sporting events, they use them to go to golf tournaments.
I know they do. I know they do.
Okay.
As long as it's not on a regular basis, and that's the problem. That's the understanding.
Why do we buy all these vans? I don't get it. We buy all these vans, you wanna buy 2 more, and they're only used for a shop. And now we're buying all these vans, so everybody's just gonna have one each, which is what I said in the very beginning, when we had 3, and now we've got 8, we're gonna go to 10, and we can't use them for anything else except for that electricity shop to keep their stuff in, to go out and check a job out and stop for coffee on the way back. I mean, I don't understand all this, so I think that's something we need to figure out, because we keep spending money on vans and we can't use it for anything else except for that teacher to take their kids and go check out a job. So,
I haven't bought a van yet.
You don't have to send them.
so,
can we,
So we have, I guess we have to
well,
vote.
why don't we do this? I understand that Swansea Y needs an answer. I don't think we're gonna get anybody that's gonna be able to give us anything we want anyhow, but can you allow me and Kit to just take a look at this? And then, if we need to call a special meeting on the next December 8th, have it on the agenda, I think he'll have a little bit more about transportation, and I think they're gonna be the only ones that can supply us what we need.
That's fine. Yeah, if we need to hold it up, we need to hold it up. I
well,
just
do we need transportation no matter where we go?
No matter where we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
It's the
the,
bid
it's
process.
the bid to use those fields, which,
It's what?
Well, I don't think anybody's
They're
gonna
gonna
have
look
the
at
fields
the
that they
CA
have, so I think they're probably gonna be the only bidder.
Oh,
That criteria within a
Yeah,
not
no,
a geographical radius.
No, we,
I
right
see.
now, and calls all day
I just
long.
wanna make sure that we have enough time for the winter, before the winter
Yeah.
comes to get, you know, to
There's money we're gonna put into the field that we
With all
wouldn't
of us.
necessarily do if Diamond wasn't gonna come there, and I also have, 6 travel teams who are on hold waiting for an answer.
yeah, whatever.
I would,
Yeah, they're waiting, don't worry.
I don't think you can take a vote
No.
obviously because of the bidding process, but I think you can
You
hear
can
the
report to them in
message.
15 days.
Probably report someone before that.
If we have to take a special meeting or a,
I mean,
or
if we don't have
a,
to say that, we can enter
we'll do
it
something.
in terms of the agreement.
Yeah.
It's just a vote on the.
we can
Okay,
also.
you can take a,
All of
if,
them.
why don't we do this? So, why don't you take a vote that, subject to Mr. Kitchen and I determine whether or not it's subject to 30B. If it is, have a bifurcated vote that if it's subject to 30B, you immediately allow us to post the bid, okay? If it's not subject to 30B, you can then say, in the alternative, if you wanna take this vote, not saying I'm voting, because I'm not, that you enter into
Negotiations.
contract negotiations with
The
the
use of
Swansea
fields.
YMCA for use of fields.
I agree with that.
So obviously, we know it's our intent, but if we have to go out to bid, you gotta bid.
That'll be the
Okay.
motion.
All right, so I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank the committee for that, that gives them
Thank you.
direction on which way to go.
Yeah, and it lets them know at least our intent right now, if we're gonna go out to bid, they understand we're gonna go out to bid, okay?
I'm not
Thank you very
in favor
much,
of-
guys.
Not in favor of
All right.
teams.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your work on.
Okay, F, mini split bid.
Yes, that's gonna be Mr. Kitchen, Paul.
With the SMI, we had been periodically replacing some of our, periodically installing mini split units in some of the classrooms. These are additional units that are going to be paid out of ESSA 3. A couple of these are actually going to the cafeteria, I think to 251, and then some of the classrooms on the second floor.
Are these failing?
There's nothing in there.
Or there's nothing in there?
I mean, inside the general cafeteria, there's no, there's fans.
Right, it doesn't, because my question is always gonna be, could we use that money in a better area than putting them into a school that's gonna get knocked down and then
They're-
3.5
They're
years?
split series units, so they, for the cafeteria in the winter, you don't really have to worry too much about the heat because there's so many bodies in there, but, you know, in the spring, they'll need it for the school,
So,
revegetation.
so are they replacing just the heads or the entire unit, exterior and everything,
Single-
line sets, the whole
Single
thing?
units, yeah.
So they're replacing everything?
We already said that most of the kids go outside anyways, whether we have air conditioning or not. So, I just think that we keep spending money on this school unless it's a necessary repair, why are we sinking more money into the school?
Because I think you're gonna need ventilation in most of these areas, like I said, it's in the cafeteria, so they have a high CO2 count, and then there's other ones that are in classrooms.
All right. Is that,
I mean,
recommendation to award the mini split bid to Mann Masters as responsible respective bidder. Need a motion?
Someone.
Need a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I,
Okay, G, the auditorium rooftop HVAC bid.
Similar to the previous vote, the rooftop unit that provides the heat and ventilation for the auditorium, that we need to replace. It's been on the agenda, not on this agenda, but on Mr. Benavides' radar for a while, but this is gonna be, I wanna say the bid from Dwight Silva was $157,000. It's the only ventilation and heating unit on that roof for the auditorium.
And that won't make it another couple of years?
Not the one that, clearly you'd be lucky to get to the spring. It's in tough shape.
we've had meetings in there and, not only the noise.
It's been a long time.
Sporadic.
Okay.
Sporadically. So that, I do agree that you don't spend money on something, but because that football field's going, we're gonna be using that a little bit more. So,
All right, recommendation is to award the bid.
motion, I'll make a motion.
Need a motion, and get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, H, monthly financial report, Mr. Kitchen.
Again, we're I won't into November. The only negative balance in any of the accounts is your extraordinary expenditures, which is $15,250. That will be resolved once the Department of Revenue certifies your E&D. That should, I anticipate that being next month. But it has been filed, it was filed early, so.
When you don't start working on the new budget?
We've already done.
You already started it?
Yeah, we sent out the packets to each of the department heads and the administration. So they'll have their drafts sent to me before Thanksgiving break.
Only because of Mr. Bailey said about his budget's gonna have to be increased because of the offsite.
Yep.
So,
I don't see any reductions, so. It'll be tied in with whatever comes to chapter 7, because obviously we stayed at minimum contribution, so it's about kind of what we're gonna get additional, and then the contractual obligations, which is primarily salary. So I wouldn't look towards a lot of additional personnel.
all right, and worst case scenario, we can transportation, is that built into the athletic?
It will be.
It will be.
When I work with Bobby, what I was suggesting to him is that we try to tie off with our officials' costs and then our I guess, employee officials, so like time users and such, and we can give it, that's going to increase significantly also. And then go into transportation, go into cloth, and then official dues and fees. So it'll be a little more broken down.
All right. As long as we get it all covered by next year.
Oh, we'll have it.
All right, expenditure approvals?
These are expenditures that were over the 5,000 mark. You'll see the top two are able tools and machines. We did solicit 3 quotes for machinery down in the advanced manufacturing. That's part of the $2.5 million grant that was awarded by the Commonwealth. After that, balanced learning is for counseling with the mental health grant. Bristol County Rehab is a special ed cost with the 240 grant. Century Paving is for the area that at the last meeting you directed us to clear out for the vans. Colliers that is actually the July bill. Oh, August. Community Connections is a special ed cost. DocuSign is the electronic signature for the school committee. Dwight Silver is the rooftop unit. Engineering Design is the rooftop unit. Hands and Harmony is special ed cost. Castle Dues, that is their second request for payment. What I'm asking for is to have the committee approve it. I'm not sure if I'm going to pay it this month or I'll pay it at the beginning of December. We made one payment last month.
What was that?
For Castle Blues, it was about $768,000, and that came out of your regular appropriation. We intend on bonding, selling bonds for $25 million in December. So like the second week of December to cover the cost of the project.
Is that reimbursable to the?
It will be. It will be. The last month's payment will be just before Thanksgiving. If I do issue this payment before that, we'll include it, and we'll get the 72%. It's 78, but it's probably going to be, there's going to be with the whole
percentage bracket.
some percentage back on it. My only issue is that with some of the capital skills and monthly payroll, about 800,000 available free cash. 1.5 million out there, so we can get back, so we'll get like 1.1, 1.2 back, and then have it certified again. So it's kind of a balancing act. If Castle can hold up a little bit, then it's fine. If not, we'll push it in December, and then we'll bond in December.
A lot of this from Castle Blues is the engineers and social that are working on this project, getting the design together, and they're breathing down his neck to get paid. They're a subcontractor, working for Castle Blues to, but they put all the designs together, and they want to get paid. That's what this is from. So we don't want them to stop designing. We need this to keep moving forward.
But since we haven't bonded yet, this is coming out of regular appropriation, so therefore it's coming out, I'm bringing it to the committee to vote on it. In the future,
We'll get it back when we bond. We'll get it back.
In the future, it would be better if the makes the recommendation, and I'm not sure how we're gonna do this, as far as recommending for payment on all of the
Well, that's board.
recs and they can through.
All right. So all the different little recs, if it's last minute, will go through the oversight committee, but the regular stuff each month should be presented to the MSBA committee for their approval. The oversight will do anything that comes in last minute or anything like that, but if we have something that's out every month, if you have, it should go before then. That's why we scheduled the MSBA meetings now prior to the school committee in case there's an issue.
Keystone is an inventory, learning and special ed again, through the check. Lightmore is for the reimbursement for the, as a rebate, for the halls that we did this summer. Dr. Sheffer is special education. Mass Association is a dues and fees. Department of Education, they had given us a grant for $12,000 for reimbursables for masks, and basically it was only used for masks, so we didn't spend that kind of money because we used a lot of our ESSA money for masks in the first round for the CRVF and ESSER 1, which are both closed. So you can't reimburse on a closed grant, so we're just gonna send it back. I think the majority of the town wants to do the same, so they'll reissue it more than likely on another bill, probably for, could be for tests. MSC, industrial supply, machine shop, that is the Haas donation. Skills Capital speaks for itself. South Coast Education, special ed, St. Anne's special ed, and Wally Communication is IT runs.
The recommendation to approve all expenditures as submitted.
Motion made.
Here, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? J, student activities.
If I could circle back in regards to the expenditures, and it's not on the agenda, but I just want to kind of touch base with that. But we're trying to get rid of some of the older vehicles in the yard. So we have and I'm not asking for a vote, I just want to make you aware of this. We have a 2002 Ford 250 that I'd like to get rid of, and a 2002 Dodge Ram. Ford has 170,000, the Ram has 237,000. I'd like to try to get rid of those two vehicles and try to solicit pricing for another, like a Chevy 2500, just so we'll have another plow vehicle. Get rid of two old ones, get a new one, and we'll move forward. But just like if I could, after this meeting, if I get the pricing and everything squared away, work with the chair. If anyone has any disagreements to that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get rid of I'm trying to get rid of some of the older vehicles and just to get them out of the yard.
All right,
Okay. I'll work with you, Mr. Jennings.
then, you don't auction them or you scrap them?
We auction,
You auction.
yeah. The frames on them are all rusted out, but somebody will pick them up.
All right.
It's just been sand, so.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda, so you're just going to.
No, I just want direction. I just want to make it, as far as an expenditure, because it's gonna be over 5,000. Student activity accounts, there's nothing eventful there, I could say. There is a request from the culinary to start a revolving account, and that'll be on the next meeting for culinary students, trying to raise money for culinary students for a donation. You know, to assist some of the culinary seniors and such. Mr. Luke and Mr. Benavides has asked for it, a lot more detail in December.
One with t-shirts or something?
No.
Is there a fundraiser going on?
Bobby Bailey had one with the cancer t-shirts.
For athletics.
For athletics.
That was during October for breast cancer month. They're selling some t-shirts and hats.
Only, I got a call today from somebody, and I started asking questions, it was the Diman for t-shirts. I don't know if we wanted to advertise on the t-shirts.
What was the request?
I wasn't sure, Dave, you just said it was, it's a fundraiser, it was the company that's doing the fundraiser for.
It is we've been dealing with it at the police department, there's gimmicks that are going around to get people to submit.
Well, that's why I
And it's-
brought it up.
That company has nothing to do with Diamond, it's just it's somebody, probably not even from this country, who's soliciting this, you send the money, and never comes out. They've been doing it to everybody.
I told them to call me back tomorrow.
They've been doing it with
Eastern Standard Time.
they've been doing it with police departments, fire departments, they call, they want to, we're doing a fundraiser for T-shirts, we'd like to put your name on it, it's
Oh,
this amount, blah, 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 and
Right.
so that's what's going
It
on.
was just funny that they said it was for Diamond Regional. I said,
They
really?
called yourself?
Yeah,
It's random calling.
all right, next, K, the House Building Facility Subcommittee, Mr.
The, I don't know, did everybody get a copy? No. Right now, the project that we started last year with Mr. Silvers is complete, just waiting on a final inspection for the plumbing. And next week, our students, Mr. Rello informed us, will be out there in Swansea, working on the addition for the house for People Incorporated. Then we start to an addition with a bathroom facility. And we have multiple projects going on that between electricity, plumbing, building and maintenance, carpentry are doing at this time. So they're all busy, and I've asked Maria, the superintendent, to talk to Ms. Torres about attending our next meeting, so she can give us a little bit more detail about all the projects that are going on.
Thank you. Let's see. L, we already, the M, Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Report, Mr. Rebel.
Thank you. We had a busy October. Our carpentry students enjoyed a tour of Corner Millwork on National Manufacturing Day. Big news for one of our seniors, Adam Kettle. His score on the PSAT was one of the highest in the nation, earning him a letter of commendation from the National Merit Scholarship Program. We did hold a professional development for all of staff. In a new experience this year, we brought back some former students to talk about their experiences at Diamond to help us all grow. In September, the city of Fall River launched a public contest to create the next city logo. The city received 227 entries, and they're down to the final 6. Of those final 6, there are 2 Diamond students within that. I believe the only students that are representative in those finalists. So if you are going to vote, look at option 3 and option 6. Those are both Diamond students, just really speaking to the creativity and leadership that's happening within the school year roadmap, where we are checking in, again, creating the healthy environments. And mental health continues to be a focus for us so it can be successful in the classroom. We started rolling out our closed gap application, which is a daily check-in with grade 9 and grade 12 students. Continuing high dose tutoring, understanding that we are still recovering from learning loss. And we saw the results on the last MCAS from our high dose tutoring and great teaching that's happening. So that's going to be continuing through math, virtual tutoring. We continue to invest in our staff. Another core pillar from this year, we're sending 8 members to a full day NEAS professional development. We continue to roll out our Staff Member of the Month program. And we're also, committed to growing our leadership within the building. We're sending 3 teachers to participate in the MAVA, that's the Vocational Administrator Program, Leadership Academies, which are intensive courses about leadership and organizational behavior. And then finally, we held our college day. Over 42-year, 4-year colleges, trade schools, military representatives joined us. We held prep sessions leading up until that. We continue to get great feedback regarding our students being prepared. On the back of my report are the 2 logos. 2 sheets have the logos that you'll see for the city Fall River contest.
Which shops did they come from?
They came from Graphic Communications and Programming and Web.
Nice, very nice, great job. Moving on to N, Superintendent's Report.
Very brief. You have my report on the next page, just 3 items. We have a flu vaccine clinic coming up here on Wednesday, November 16th. It is free to the faculty and it's through CVS Caremark. Also, just be aware, the committee should be aware that there is money being pursued to enhance the machines and for the building here at Diamond. Capital Skills Grant for carpentry of $274,000, a Capital Skills Grant of $7.4 million, broken down as you see, and the Fidelity Foundation, who is a newcomer, they're coming here on November the 16th to be meeting with me, but they're interested in donating to 3 of our shops that we will target between $350,000 and $400,000 for some upgrades. Then last is the enrollment that was reported to the state. October 1 report, 1,411 students, which indicates that Diamond is still well sought after. The retention is still high, and that is a healthy report there on the number of students.
Awesome. Awesome, thank you very much. Moving on to O, calendar of events. Anything changed on this?
Can I just ask again? Still showing that the school committee meeting next month is on the 15th. I hope I can't be here.
There are things says it's on the 8th.
I know, but it still says on the school calendar. That school calendar is wrong. I asked this the other day, right?
For which?
December.
You're looking at December, okay, I was looking at November.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Originally, I had it on the 15th too,
Right.
but this says it's on the 8th.
This, we always go with the second Thursday, so if we correct that to the 8th.
I just want to make sure, because I did a vacation schedule for a couple of months and I used the second Thursday. You too?
My
Yeah, me too.
availability.
So it is the 8th.
Mr. Jennings, we just talked about the calendar, and our next school committee meeting, they have it scheduled on the 15th, so it's really on the 8th. Look at your calendar, that's the second Thursday, the 8th. So can we get that changed on the school
It is,
calendar?
yeah, I'm thinking this might be an old calendar. On the website, it is showing on the 8th, but we'll make sure the 15th comes through.
I'm not.
So it's on December 8th, not on December 15th,
Correct, the 8th.
the 8th.
You're an important person to know that. All right, we'll just do 3-1-2.
That's it, you already did the
Mr. Chairman,
calendar
one
events.
thing, it's not on the agenda, it's not for any vote, just, we will have to schedule a grievance subcommittee meeting. I'm waiting on the DTA to inform me tomorrow whether or not there was a matter held in abeyance, they took out of abeyance on the 1st. It's 20 school days. With the holiday, it brings us that the deadline is gonna be December 1st. That was an agreement by the DTA. They're gonna let me know tomorrow if they actually wanna have a meeting before December 1st, in accordance with the contract, the strict reading of the contract, or they wanna schedule it on December 8th, like we normally do the day of. They don't know which way they wanna go. Said they had to talk it over and let me know tomorrow, so I just want you, whoever's on that.
I would prefer to have that on a day that we don't have a school committee meeting, because we don't know how long it's gonna go.
Okay.
And we don't wanna push everybody back, and I certainly don't wanna get here for 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay,
So, on the 1st, if they'd like to do that,
who's on the grievance subcommittee?
myself, Jeff, and Paul.
Alright, so, do you want me to give them a
Why
proposal?
don't you, find out tomorrow? See what
But
they
you don't
say.
wanna do it on the 8th?
No,
Okay, so we'll go by the contract. That's what we're telling them, we're gonna follow the contract.
Yeah.
I'll let you know tomorrow, Mr. Chairman, and Helena can get in touch with everybody.
Just one thing, on the 1st, we do have an MSBA meeting at 5:30. So,
Do you wanna do it before, after, 4 o'clock?
Well, then it would, Jeff would be the only.
I'm unsure, because I'm just waiting on the calendar for the 1st.
Okay. All right, well, I'll let them know we wanna do it prior to the 20-day period elapsing per the contract.
Yeah.
And we'll say, I'll tell them that I'm getting a
Yeah, because
meeting
we'll be
date.
at the MSBA, but Jeff
won't be.
won't
know.
be, so.
If anything, if it does go through on the 1st for my calendar, it would have to be after the MSBA.
So it's 6:30.
Yeah, it would have to go to 6:30.
That's fine,
That's
I'm fine whichever way you wanna,
Yeah,
want me to
6:30.
tentatively,
6:30
you
be fine.
can do 6:30?
I could probably do 6:30 on the 1st.
I'm gonna tentatively schedule 6:30 December 1st?
Sure.
Okay, I'll call them tomorrow.
In this room?
Yep.
All right, we don't have any other reasonable anticipated 5 to 48 hours. Correspondence, we have none. Next meeting would be December 8th. And need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.